Okay, you ready? Opening the Oldham County Code Enforcement Board meeting of November the 2nd.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give and the board is true and accurate to the best of your belief and knowledge?
I do.
First order of business is the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at the minutes? And do I have a motion to approve? Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
First up, we have the follow-up of the property on 4501 North Highway 393. You can see by the photo, he was maintaining compliance. If you recall, the issue is he was doing some dumping down there by the creek, construction debris, stuff like that. He is maintaining. He's even posted his property down there. See in the tree there, he's posted it to keep people from coming down there and leaving bodies. Hopefully that'll take care of it. Now, I understand it's supposed to be pretty close. He's supposed to be pretty close now to actually finishing up. He talked to Jerry, our electrical inspector, and he had asked for a final on electrical earlier this week or last week sometime, but he doesn't have a certificate of occupancy yet, so.
You look real close, though. That's Oldham.
Yeah, he is getting close, so. Alright. Alright, first case on the agenda is recalling the case citation 478. That's, the address is 3421 East Highway 42. If you'll recall, that's the junkyard slash service station slash tow-in lot at the end of, right there at Oregon Creek and 42. There was a determination made that that is a legal, non-conforming use. A letter was completed, and you'll see it's in your packet with a few conditions. We met with the property owners and the business operators and came to the agreement. So at this point, we'll request the issue be dismissed.
I move that case citation number 0478 for 3421 East Highway 42 and penalty be dismissed.
We have a motion dismissed. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay. Next case is citation number 0479. 6200 New Cut Road. Today's date is November 2nd, 2016. The case number is 160122, citation 479. Again, the address is 6200 New Cut Road, Crestwood, Kentucky 40014. The property owner is Andrew Eldridge at that address. A hearing was not requested. The violations charged are nuisance ordinance KLC 89-800-846, sections 1, 2, 3, zoning ordinance 030-020 permitted uses and zoning ordinance 070-020 permitted uses. The reason both of those permitted uses are there is because his property is actually kind of split between two different types of zoning. On October 31st, 2016, Code Enforcement received another complaint regarding that property. If you'll recall, we had this property a few months ago for the exact same violations. The complaint was that they're operating a towing service. They've got junk vehicles on the property. On September 1st, an inspection was conducted and verified the complaint. Again, it was noted that the property had been cited less than 6 months prior. Notice violation was sent to the owner. I skipped the courtesy letter part because he's already been notified before. So notice violation was sent on that date. You can see here, he's got his tow trucks there. He's got something on the, it looks like a truck on the back of that truck or part of a truck. So he was to have it cleared off by September 16th. At September 16th, follow-up inspection was conducted. As you can see by the photos, no change. He still got as many vehicles there as he had before. He still had the tow trucks there. Citation was issued by posting it on the property and sending it certified mail. You see where it's posted on the property, and there's that half a truck or whatever it is sitting there. This one here with the hood up. So, on September 26th, received the return service for the certified mail, signed by Candace Eldridge. On October 31st, a pre-hearing inspection was conducted, noted that now the property is in compliance. Again, the notice or the violations was KLC 89-800-846, sections 1, 2, and 3. Storage of junk, chemicals, limbs, debris on the property. No owner shall maintain or keep any nuisance thereon, nor shall any such person keep or maintain any such premises in the manner causing substantial diminution in the value of others' properties. No exterior storage of non-operating vehicles is prohibited. And you've seen the pictures, there were non-operating vehicles there. There was junk on the property. Additionally, they're running the tow lot there. You can look at the permitted uses. There is no permitted uses for running a towing service out of that property. And again, the permitted uses, again, there's no permitted use for towing service. Generally, well, the evidence shows clear continued violation of the ordinance, KLC 89-800, sections 1, 2, and 3, and zoning ordinance 280-100, which I didn't actually charge, in 030-020 and 070-020. The recommendation on this is to issue a fine for the property, which I know we generally, if they come into compliance, we don't, but being this is a reoccurring offense, I would like to issue the fine based on the number of days he was in violation and hold it in abeyance for a 12-month period, providing he have no future violations for that 12 months. Kind of like a probation to keep him from going back to what he was doing. The site visits were September 1st, September 16th, and October 31st, subject to your questions.
So, under your recommendation, if we fine the property owner and hold it in abeyance for 12 months, that means you'll inspect every month?
Well, I'll make periodic inspections, and if I get another complaint, then obviously that's when the fine will be
Just base it on a
instituted.
complaint and not make a every month
I won't have a
inspection.
scheduled inspection, no, but I will make periodic inspections and drive-bys, but it'll be based more on a complaint than anything.
Do you feel that if we just tabled it? Or do you feel that he needs the citation? Is that the reason you need to issue the fine, and so that is a little bit more,
Well, I feel
Make him
like,
comply.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my recommendation is the fairest way to go. It's not actually costing him anything as long as he stays in compliance. If we table it, then really all I'm gonna do is send him a letter saying, we're still got this case open, you're still subject to fines, and you're subject to do it over again. So we don't actually have to fine there.
There's
This
a lit-
actually gives me a method of actually saying, if you come in violation, this is automatically on you. We don't have to go through this again.
I think there's a little more incentive if you fine and hold an abeyance.
So if you witness a violation during the 12-month period, the fine will be payable at that
Correct.
time. So at that time, you'll just issue the notice to pay the fine. You'll levy the fine.
Correct. He'll be sent a letter. I'll take photos and I will update the board at that time that, you know, on this date, I went out there based on a complaint or based on a drive-by, I seen this, took the photos, subject was sent a letter instituting the fine at that point.
Is he in compliance right now?
Right now, he is in compliance.
Okay, that's, okay. I was a little
Now,
confused.
and again, the only reason why I'm requesting this particular situation is because it has been a reoccurrence. I mean, he's
Refresh my
come into
memory.
compliance before. Okay, the first case that I had on him, exact same issues. I went out there, gave him the letter, gave him the notice, gave him the citation. He cleaned it up right before the board. Came into
Okay.
the office and gave me some lip service prior to doing that. And I told him, I said, you know, you're welcome to come to the board, whatever, which he never did come to the board. But he did clean it up. So when we came to the board, I did the same as I do for everybody. I said, okay, he's in compliance now, let's dismiss the case. Well, less than 6 months later, I'm getting the same complaint, and it's verified by going out there and looking at it.
Okay.
And the neighbor out there, she said, well, you really didn't do anything. I said, well, actually I did, but we're gonna have to do it again. So that's why we're where we're at.
I see.
Terry, I understand you're looking for deterrence, but if this was a typical case, we would dismiss, and if a violation occurred again, we can always up the fine at that time rather than having this.
But this is already the second case.
So, I understand. Just my thoughts.
Well, I think we're thinking the same way. If he's in compliance, I'm not disagreeing it, but if he's in compliance, I know what you're trying to do, but I also agree with, if he's in compliance, I don't understand how we
Well,
put a fine on it.
Here's the issue, and again, it's entirely up to y'all what you do, but here's the issue. Okay, we dismiss it again. He does the same thing again. Are we gonna do the same thing the next time? You see what I'm saying? How many times do we
You
come
to
before the board
reissue
with the same
citations.
complaints? And again, it's entirely up to y'all, but, you know, I've gotta deal with the neighbor that's calling me going, hey, y'all aren't doing anything.
Well, it seems as though he comes in compliance when he gets a citation, and then he lapses, and we call it creep. It creeps back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how long, and how often are
Not
we
really
gonna allow him
been
to creep
enough
back
to
in?
get his attention.
Yeah, so this is strike 2, and is there gonna be a strike 3? And what happens if there is a strike 3? Do we have to wait and do another citation? Right now, you have an open case, you have a citation issued. And
Yes, and there
Terry's
is
asking
evidence, there's evidence of the violation, obviously, and so he was in violation for a number of days.
Yeah, based on Terry's September 1st, 16th, and October 1st, 31st site visits, there was a violation. That's why he got the citation.
And I only held him accountable for the time that I knew the violation was in occurrence. If you look at the number of days, it doesn't actually include from the 31st to today, because he never called me and said that he was in compliance. He never made any contact with me, other than I got the return service on the citation. So, you know, on the second citation,
I guess we really have to rely on counsel on this one, if you don't mind me barging in on this. But, you know, if he's in compliance today, how do you make a motion that if he becomes out of compliance, that some method of fining starts at that date of observation by the code enforcement officer, not here's another chance to clean it up and come back and get away with it again? So if Terry were going to do periodic drive-by inspections and notice that in fact it was starting to come back in, then, you know, we've talked about that's the date that the fines begin. And there's got to be some way of saying, okay, we're not going to keep playing this cat and mouse game. We're going to really go for it here. So I'm you know,
Just
seeing
like
if
a
council has,
probation is what I'm asking.
seeing if
for.
council has any idea on how to advise the board on what to do next.
I think there's a problem if you try to delegate to Terry the authority to decide whether the property has gone back into non-compliance. So I think if you come to the conclusion today that you want to have something, for lack of a better term, hanging over his head, it doesn't change the procedural requirements to impose that later. I think either way, you're going to have to come back with a new citation.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think that we can make it easier to impose the fine. You're either going to make him pay it, or you're going to hold it in abeyance, but you can't delegate the authority to Terry.
You know, we can only fine for what we've witnessed and what's been documented. We can't fine for something that may happen in the future.
Right. If you want to start increasing the fine because of future violations, it needs to be noticed and docketed just like any other violation.
Okay, but what we're doing is, if he is found to be in fault, and we go ahead and put the fine now, we can hold it in abeyance. But then we also change the parameter a little bit and have Terry check it periodically? Because that's something we've done in other cases.
I don't think it's an issue allowing him to continue to check for compliance. The issue is if he finds a violation, where does he go from there? And my
Issue another.
opinion is that it needs to be brought in the same procedural way that a previous. Now, if you issue a subsequent violation and it comes here, I think there would have to be some kind of mechanism to bring the older case on the docket too. And do you do it, because I'm just not familiar with it, is there a motion that can be filed to bring that older case?
Well, let me make this may clear it up.
Yeah.
Let me make the suggestion that we put the fine in abeyance for a 12-month period. If he stays in compliance, nothing else needs to be done. If he does not, then I issue a new citation without notice of violation, without anything. He comes back to the board on a new case, and then the fine that we had already issued comes into play, and any additional fines for the new citation comes into play.
I think that's the best way to handle it.
Would that satisfy what y'all are looking for? Because basically all I'm saying is, I'm not asking you to give me authority to fine him. All I'm asking you to do is put the fine there, and then if it becomes necessary, rather than having to go through a whole new set of cases, say, okay, this fine's already here, you gotta pay this one.
And then
Now, if we have another case, we have to prove that case.
A new complaint would trigger that, is that what?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, I've got another option, and is, Steve, you mentioned tabling this one. Now you have an open citation that's not been closed. And you're instructing the code enforcement officer to do periodic inspections, because there has been not one but two citations issued for the same. You have an open citation, and if nothing happens in the next 12 months, that would trigger Terry putting this back on your docket before 12 months, then it's after 12 months clear. If he notices violations, then he brings it back. Now you already have an open citation, and you can use your second occurrence as your rate. Instead of like the first occurrence, there's one rate. Second occurrence, you're going like, okay, this is a repeat offender. But you already have an open citation. You're just bringing it back and putting it back, taking it off the table if it happens earlier. That may be a cleaner and faster way of doing it. There's no citation issued. His letter then would be, the code board made this decision today. I'm going to keep your case open pending further violations and future inspections. And then you can tell them what the fine rate per day could be as an incentive, something like that. So you got two, I think
I
you
see
got
what
two
you're
options.
saying, yeah.
Yeah, one is just, okay, close this citation.
The only issue with that, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, we can't go to a second offense on this citation, because the first citation we dismiss. So we can't say this is a second offense citation. We have to treat it as a first offense when it comes to fining them,
Oh,
okay?
But even though he was
But-
cited,
Even though he was cited, but we dismissed it. It's just like if you get a ticket and it's dismissed, when you go to court again on another ticket, that can't be held against you because it was dismissed.
I would recommend if the board has sufficient information today to make a finding that the violation occurred, I would recommend that the board vote on that and that we not delay that just in the case that Terry changes jobs or, something happens to where we don't have the availability for someone to testify. I mean, I guess it's in the record, but now that it's been put in the record, I think it's appropriate for the board to make a decision on it. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to decide what the penalty is, but I would recommend that the board at least make a finding as to the truth or falsity of the violation. And then perhaps if you want to suspend the penalty phase, then by all means, I think you're entitled to do that. So
Okay.
these the forms that you have prepared to make it easy to document these findings, it would be kind of a split, I think, where you would have to be careful that you're not getting ahead of yourself, because it seems to be fairly routine how we go through these, but we need to split the factual findings with the penalty, if that's what you want to do. If you
But it looks like to me that as soon as he was in compliance, as of today of the meeting, then that violation is null and void.
So he was still in violation for a period of time. That's all I'm not asking you to find him for a
Documented.
time that he's not in violation. I'm only asking for the period of time that he was in violation. Okay? From the time that he was given the notice of violation till the inspection that I showed where he was no longer in violation. That period of time.
right.
If that is the only part of the fine that I'm asking for. And we can, you can do that, and then if he comes back again within a 12-month period, then we can issue that fine on a new citation. It's basically, all it is really is a probation thing. I mean, here's what you got. As long as you stay out of trouble, you don't have to do anything. If you get in trouble again, you're subject to be revocated for lack of better terms, you're being revocated. And you have to pay that fine now.
Looks like
That's
you may
enough
be
for
setting a
me.
fine up for something that's already null and void. As long as he's in compliance, then any other time we would have dismissed this one, correct?
If it wasn't a reoccurring issue, then yeah, I would normally dismiss, but this is a reoccurring issue. Here's
The history, there's a
the
history.
the problem is I don't want to come back here, if we dismiss it today, I don't want to come back here 3 months from now where he's done it again, and I'm having to explain to these neighbors that, well, yeah, but he gets it in compliance before we go to court, so we dismiss it. You understand what I'm saying?
I see.
That's the
I
issue.
see why. I see
So
what you want to do.
I'm
Yes.
trying to do something to deter the problem, not so much to get into the guy's pocket. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to give him some incentive to not do this again.
And also, another point I'd like to make is, this body, our job is to maintain people's property values, and if these neighbors continue to call in and he keeps reoccurring with violations, we're allowing damage to their property values if we don't make some sort of take some sort of action to protect them as well. And like Officer Green explained to us, he cleaned it up and then they complained again and he cleaned it up again, and that's not helping them. And they look at us and I think they made the comment to Terry, you all aren't doing anything. So to me, that's another matter that I think we should consider.
Okay, any further discussion?
No, I'm ready to move
Move forward?
forward.
Okay.
I'll move that the citation was properly issued on 9/16/2016, posted at the property and certified mail to the respondent, who is the owner. A notice of the hearing was given to the respondent on 9/16/2016. The respondent did not request a hearing to contest the citation within 7 days of the issuance of the citation, but was notified of this hearing, failed to appear. Therefore, the respondent is deemed to have waived the right to a hearing to contest the citation. The determination of a violation was committed shall be final, and the board may proceed to the penalty phase.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And I also move that a nuisance ordinance violation was committed, KOC 89-800-846-1. The condition or use of the premises are detrimental to the property of others. The condition or use of the premises renders the property dangerous or detrimental or adverse to the health and welfare or offensive to the senses of the residents of the community. KOC 89-800-846-2. Property maintenance. Overgrown property, lack of maintenance on the home. KOC 89-800-846-3. The person has allowed partially dismantled, wrecked, junked, or non-operational motor vehicles or machines to remain on the premises for more than 15 days. And the violation was observed by the officer on 9/1/16, and there's substantial evidence in the record that the violation was permitted to exist for 60 days.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I move to find that the Oldham County zoning ordinance violation was committed. The location is zoned R2A and CO1. The activity conducted at the location, namely storage of unregistered or inoperable vehicles, is a violation of the county ordinance because it is not a permitted use in this zone, or a conditional use permit has not been granted for this activity. Automobile, trailer, truck, trailer, or boat that is not licensed for the current year is being kept in a residentially zoned area of zoning ordinance 280-100.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for a zoning ordinance violation. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries.
And I believe we have other code violations in this citation as well. I move to find a violation of KOC 030-020 was observed by the officer 9/1/2016 through 9/16/2016 and 10/31/2016. And there is substantial evidence in the record that the violation committed or permitted to exist on the following dates: 9/1/2016 through 10/31/2016. Move to find the violation of County Ordinance 070020 was observed by the officer on the same dates, and there's substantial evidence that the violation was committed or permitted to exist through those same dates, 9/1/2016 through 10/31/2016.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
No. With a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And remedial order, I moved that the property be monitored by the code enforcement officer periodically to determine whether the property is kept in compliance for a period of 12 months. That concludes my,
Okay. We have a remedial order for the property to be monitored by the code enforcement officer for a period of 12 months. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed,
And,
nay. Motion carries.
Okay. The penalty phase, I move to fine in the amount of $75 a day for the period of 60 days, which comes to $4,500. and that fine be held in abeyance for a period of 12 months. After 12 months, if the property has remained in compliance for that entire time, then the fine is to be eliminated, abated. I don't know what the term is.
Dismissed,
Expunged.
expunged, whatever, okay. Okay, we have a motion on the floor that the fine has been set at $75 per day for 60 days for a total of $4,500. The fine would be held in abeyance if, after 12 months, it's still in compliance, the fine would be dismissed, whatever. So I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries.
Just for clarification purposes, for writing the letter to him, what you're saying is it's gonna be held in abeyance for 12 months pending no new violations? Okay. I just want.
That would be good
we-
wording.
Yeah. Just for wording for the letter.
I want to
him.
make it clear that he understands that if there are any new violations during that 12-month period, that the fine will be levied immediately
Additional fines as well as that.
for another offense, yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that in the letter.
I need to make sure something gets clarified too.
Okay.
You're saying that you're going to monitor for 12 months and that's held in abeyance for 12 months and everything is, in month 13, it doesn't let him go do this again. It's got to be really clear that we're just going to watch it for a year, but that doesn't exempt him from going and doing this. I mean, he's got to keep his property clean after that as well.
Right,
I mean,
but,
all the language makes it sound like, after 12 months, we'll think about this again. No.
yes.
After 12 months, we're done monitoring and if he behaves, but that doesn't allow him to violate any of these things again.
No.
I just,
You might want to put the wording in there that he is in violation of ordinances and laws in the county, and
and to remediate this citation, here's the conditions. It's monitoring for 12 months, but that doesn't, again,
I'll put it in the letter that he's subject to enhanced fines if he has any additional violations, even after the 12 months.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's got to be real clear that,
Because, I mean, our ordinance does say second offense is a higher fine, third offense, and I'll put that in
That'll
the
be
letter.
good. thank you.
Okay, next case is, case citation 480. The address is 11704 Hidden Creek Road. The date is November 2nd, 2016. This property has been brought into compliance. It was an issue where the subject, or the owner of the property had been doing a construction project for several years with no advancement. Notified him, he did bring the property, he did complete the exterior portion of the construction. I don't know what's inside, but the exterior's done, so that's my issue, so I'm recommending dismissing the case.
Well, I move that we dismiss the case as recommended by the code enforcement officer.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Case dismissed.
Ready? Next case, citation 481. The address is 1503 Robertson Drive. Today's date is November the 2nd, 2016. The case number is 16-0120. Citation 481. Address again is 1503 Robertson Drive, Crestwood, Kentucky 40014. Property owners is Katrina and Johnny Bartlett. P.O. Box 1072, Crestwood, Kentucky 40014. A hearing, it says, was not requested. However, he did request a hearing. You'll notice in your packet there was a letter from him saying that he wished to have a hearing. However, he's not present, so he did actually send a letter requesting a hearing, though. Let's see.
And he was notified of the date when
He
the
was
citation was
notified of the
issued,
date.
and
Yes, he was. The violation is KLC 89-800-846, sections 1 and 2. On August 22nd, 2016, code enforcement received another complaint regarding the listed property. If you'll recall, this property was just on the board, I don't know, a few months ago for basically the same issue. Property not being maintained, grass is uncut. Inspection verified that complaint, noted that the property had just been cited in July for the same offense. However, the case was dismissed because he came into compliance prior to the board. Photos were taken, a courtesy letter was sent. And the reason I sent a courtesy letter on this particular incident is because when I went out there, the grass was a little bit high, and I didn't know if they just hadn't got out there to get it corrected. Because the owner of the property, when I cited him last time, said they were in the process of moving, so I was giving them the benefit of the doubt. On September 8th, 2016, follow-up inspection noted, as you can see, there's no improvement. The grass is still up around the house is really bad. There's a lawnmower sitting at the end of the driveway. I don't know if it works or not, but it's not being used right. So notice the violation was sent, photos were taken. See, there's some more photos. You can see how high the grass is over in this area over here. And same thing right in here, tree limbs down, little stuff like that. September 28th, follow-up inspection, noted the grass still needed to be cut. Photos were taken, citation 481 was issued by posting it on the property and sending it certified mail. More photos, see where the citation was posted on the front door. October 31st, pre-hearing inspection noted that the issues were still unabated. See, the grass is still high. They did move the lawnmower that was down there, though. Nuisance ordinance KLC 89-800-846, section 1 and 2. Storage of junk, chemicals, limbs, debris on the property. No owner shall maintain or keep any nuisance thereon, nor shall any such person keep or maintain in such premises in a manner causing substantial diminution in value of others' properties. There is grass and weeds growing up around the property, debris scattered throughout. It's kind of becoming an eyesore to that area. Evidence shows clear and continued violation of the nuisance ordinance KLC 89-800-846, sections 1 and 2. Recommendation is the issue of fine as the issues still have not been abated. Site visits were August 22nd, September 8th, September 23rd, and October 31st.
can you go back to the photos before it was cut? And then it looks to me like it was cut there at one time, just not a very good job.
Some of it had been cut. It looks like right in here, it looked like it might have been cut, but the areas up around the house still uncut, and on the sides were still uncut.
So it appears he made an attempt. He just didn't complete it, because there's a lot of cut grass there out in the front.
Right here.
Yeah, all that, was very tall and obviously been cut, but, he didn't finish it.
Right.
I don't have any further questions.
In answer to your question about his notification, here's the letter that he sent saying he wanted the board, and here's where the
Yeah, I
return
saw
service
the
for
letter in the
citation.
packet, I think, where he requested the hearing.
Yeah, and here's the return service where he was notified with the citation.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions before the board? Are we ready to move forward with procedural matters?
I'll make a motion that the citation by Code Enforcement Officer Green was properly issued on 9/23, posted on the property, and certified mail to the respondent was given. Notice of the hearing was given to the respondent on 9/23, and although the respondent requested a hearing, he's not present today.
Okay,
Leaves my motion.
okay, we have a motion on the floor for procedural matters. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, with a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries.
I move that the nuisance ordinance violation, condition of use premises are detrimental to the property of others and causes or tends to cause substantial diminution of the value of the properties according to KOC 89-800-846, paragraph 1. Storage of any of the following junk, lumber, limb, trash, debris, appliances, containers, furniture, and equipment in the condition or use of the premises renders the property dangerous or detrimental or adverse to the health, welfare, or are offensive to the senses of the residents of the community as outlined in KOC 89-800-846, paragraph 2. The violation was observed by the officer on 9/8/2016. There is substantial evidence in the record that the violation was permitted to exist for 55 days.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, with the second, all in favor with this motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries.
In determination of penalty, I move that the property owner be assessed $10 per day for 55 days to be held in conveyance upon compliance of this order, of his transgressions.
Just a point of order, we need to do a remedial order
All right, I'm gonna
first.
I'm sorry.
the remedial order first, and then we'll go into the fines. You should have on page 4.
I move that the board determine that a violation has committed, and the board shall issue an order upholding the citation. Is that, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here.
Okay, at this
I don't know.
time, you can bring in any things that, to keep the property cleaned up, any types of,
I think typically we usually just say bring the property into compliance within a certain number of days, and
The remedial order, I move that the property owner bring the property in compliance within 30 days of today. And
okay? Okay, we have a motion on the floor for the property to be brought into compliance within 30 days from today's date. Do I have a second?
second.
Okay, with a second, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And back to the determination of penalty, I move that the property owner be assessed $10 a day for 55 days, a total of $550,
Yeah.
to be held in abeyance pending coming in compliance with the code.
Could I add something to your motion to be within the terms of the remedial order? Did you state a date or a time limit on your remedial order?
30 days.
30 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Sorry,
So I would ask you to amend that or add that to your motion.
will you amend?
I do amend, I so amend,
All
sorry.
right, the motion has been amended, that the fine is $10 a day times 55 days for $550, with the property, with the fine to be held in abeyance if the property is brought into compliance within 30 days of today. We have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Excuse me.
Next case, citation 482, address is 562 Kidwell Lane. Today's date's November 2nd, 2016. Property has been brought into compliance, and I'm recommending dismissal on
I'm sorry, Terry, on the agenda, you have 652 Kidwell, and that says 562. I'm not sure which one it is.
I'm sorry that.
Just a little transposition of numbers there.
Yeah,
I do that all the time.
it is 652, I'm sorry.
As long as it's not your checkbook, you're fine.
I'm a little dyslexic right now.
It appears everything else says 652, not
Yeah.
562, so.
So
Okay,
your recommendation is to dismiss?
Correct. The property has been brought into compliance. Initially, they had so much junk there. I can show you the photo. You'll see, they had all that there. The initially, when I went out there, it's just unreal. And now
They've cleaned it up.
they're this. So he did clean up the property, so.
we have a motion on the floor to dismiss. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Terry, is there any other business before us?
That's it.
Okay. All right.
We adjourn.
At this time, being no further business, we will adjourn the Oldham County Code Enforcement meeting of November the 2nd.
Yeah, we all need some distraction from this election, don't we?
Anything.
Anything. Quit talking about that.